Hello, welcome to another class. I'm recording the class, streaming this class today because yesterday I went to some friends for a pizza night. So let's see if everything is fine. One, two, three. I'm recording the class, streaming this class today because okay, so looks good. Let's go there. The class today will be kind of simple, but it's very important because I will show how to access our content. And I will show the tool that we use to build and access and play with our program. So it will be a special tool to do like code development. And it's something that if you're gonna be an engineer or even do vibe code, you need to know how to understand, navigate. So today will be our first contact with it. So let's go. If you type in your browser codelearn.live, this is the landing page. So this is my GitHub repository for this training. If you go one level up, I do have plenty of other repositories there for all the training that I did, or the APIs, or some other content that I create. So this is this one for this specific. We will learn way more about this technology like Git and GitHub later on. But today I'll show the basics so you can access and get the updates for this material. This is the initial page that where I'm gonna be updating. Oh, look, the cat is going to play. Oh, come on, Thor, don't do that. Come here, I will show you to the internet now. Come here, boy. This is Thor. He was messing with my foot here, so now stay there. So, okay, let's go back there. Oh, wait. Ooh, I bent. Ooh, I got a cramp. Okay. Okay, it's good now. So, wait, let me stretch. Something is strange here. Sometimes I feel that when I'm doing exercise. Now it's good. So in here's where I will be update all the class. So we have all the class up to now. After the class today, we'll put another entry here for the class number 6. That is this one. The content is coming from this file, 002. If we go there, this is what we're gonna cover in the today class. So the first thing is those two technology. One is called Git, the other one is GitHub. So Git, I put like a brief definition here. Basically, was created by Linus Torvalds, the same guy that created Linux. So he is very notorious in him. There is one of the biggest names of our generation, and this is one of his second project. And if we go to this website, we can learn a lot about it as well, and you need to install it. Some version of Linux already come out of the box with Git. If you are using Windows or Mac, you will find here instruction how to install. Everything is open source and free. And if you navigate this, so I'm not going to show here how to install in every one of the single environments because sometimes you need, it's not going to work exactly everywhere. But if I'm using Linux, we can click here, got an instruction, what type of Linux you are using. In my case, I'm using Fedora, so I just use like DNF. If you are using Windows, it's regular, you just download a file and install. Mac OS, you just do this as well. So there is no difficulty at all to install Git. Git is like a command line tools. There is a version that you can get with a graphical user interface as well. So it's a good example of a console application that we saw in the previous class. What Git does is, in a nutshell, is a technology that allows source code or programs, files, to be accessed in a collaborative way with people spread in the entire world. So Linus create Git because of the collaborative work that he needs he needed to for Linux. Thousands of software engineers, developers work on it. And in that time, the technology that we had was not suitable for what he needed. He just created. GitHub is one solution using the cloud that is like we can use Git repository. So this one was open source, free before. It's still free, but now it's owned by Microsoft. Microsoft bought it and now is doing some business on top of it. Even Copilot, like the AI tool, learn from those repositories. So most of the code in the world is in Git somewhere, and GitHub as well is the most used version control. Every company out there uses it, so it's very important to learn because we need to keep. One good thing about Git, just to explain, is like this: we have our files that we will be using. Imagine like text file. We are writing a book, so we can keep a history of all the change that we did. And we can now allow other people to do the same work, like changing, adding, deleting, removing text from our book. And Git allows us to coordinate all that work. So I can just connect to Git, get a repository, update with everyone else did the work. I download to my local computer. I can be offline, get in a train, in an airplane, do my work and update my work in the Git. And later on, when I have internet connection, I can synchronize. And when I do that, like it's something called push, when I push my change to the repository that will be hosted somewhere, in our case here, GitHub, everyone else can do a pull and get those changes. So we learned today a very basic thing that is every class I will update this content, and then you all have to update it. So this is how to install Git. You don't need to install GitHub because it's a cloud service. So if you go here, this is GitHub. It's the biggest code repository like right now. If we go to our page, every Git repository, there is this option here, code. And then you can select the code and see, okay, what do I need to download this repository? You can just download a zip file. If you don't want to like use any tool to download it, you just get a zip file that you can zip and work on it. Or you can use Git using this URL. There is different options. The most common one is we get this URL and we will use, let me go back there to our content. We use this command, git clone. So let's do some example here. This is my home folder. I will navigate to downloads. Let's see what is in downloads here. I will create a folder, and then I call this demo. I will navigate to this folder, and here I will put git clone and then that URL. In this case, this repository is public, so nothing will be asked to you to download it. Be careful when you get repository from people out there, because as we are download code, there is a possibility that in that code there is some malicious thing. So be careful, don't clone everything. In this case, like it's safe because you can see easily the content, but be careful. It's something that you cannot. For example, today there are hackers that post some position in LinkedIn on the internet. You apply for that position, they invite you to an interview and ask you to clone a repository. That repository has malicious code. So you think you are doing a code interview, but actually you are being hacked. So be careful, okay? So when we do the clone, it's almost like download. So if I go to this folder now and I list the content, I see there is this folder, code learn, and it's gonna match exactly what is in here. So of course, when you are in Git, before you download any repository, go there and check the content, because you can navigate. All the files will be here. So you can go to each folder, and if you are not sure, you can there is one website that you can give a Git repository, and that website is going to tell you if it's safe. So you can Google how to check if a Git repository is safe. Someone else already created a solution for that. Or ask some friends that could check it, but don't blindly clone the repository because you can be in trouble. Even software engineers are being like hacked this way. So if I open my Explorer just to show, and I go to downloads, demo, code learn, this folder will match the same as we have here. If you pay attention, maybe not the same order, but everything that is in here is downloaded now. So every class I will change, and I will use Git to push new changes. So what you do, the next class, you're gonna do a Git pull. How you do this? You go to the folder and you just type Git pull. Right now I say, oh, there is nothing to update because it checked with the server, and the server said, oh, you already have all the latest changes. So after the class today, I will do some updates. So tomorrow, or when you are watching this video, if you do this Git, you'll see some messages say, oh, we just upload, receive this, something similar to what you see here. Okay? I want to be very careful here because you need to connect all those parts. It's very important to have this in your mind. What are those tools? Like I said, abstraction, there are multiple levels. We are looking to this tool from very high level. So you can do some search, watch some specific video, because right now, the only thing you need to do is git clone to get the content, and every class do a git pull to get the latest. We will have several classes about Git because there is a lot to learn. And Git is those tools that it's very easy to use the simple thing. It's very simple, but there is a lot of complication that can, like complexity, depend of what you really need to do. Okay, so we will explore Git later on, way more. The next step is we are learning here how to create application, how to create programs. And we will use a specific tools for that. The same way that when we create a spreadsheet, we use Excel. When I create a document, we use Word. And when I edit an image, we use a GIMP or Photoshop or Paint or Paintbrush or whatever. So there are specific programs that we call IDE. IDE stands for Integrate Development Environment. So basically is one environment that has everything that you need to create, debug, test, run, and publish your code. There is a concept that is part of IDE that is just code editor. So code editor, there are some products out there that are not full IDE, unless you install a lot of plugins to make it IDE. Is the case of Visual Studio Code. Is that why I put this here? Because some people is very radical. Say, no. Visual Studio Code is not IDE. It's a code editor. Okay. Because we need to do some steps to make it a full IDE. But at the end of the day, we're going to use as an IDE. We want to use Visual Studio Code to be able to create our program, run, debug, test, and publish if that's the case. I put some links here just to allow you to go deeper a little bit. So if we go to Wikipedia page, there is some explanation what IDE is. There is some hundreds of them. Along the way, a lot of them became famous and then fade away. But today, the main list, I guess I put here. I didn't put the list here, but it's kind of IntelliJ, Visual Studio, Visual Studio Code, and then there is some others there that I don't remember now, but wherever company you're going to work at may use a different IDE with different configurations. So it's something that is part of the onboarding. The first few days when you join a company, they'll let you know, oh, this is the IDE that you use and all this, and then very quick you get comfort. As soon as you know how to use Word or Excel, you can easily use any other text editor or spreadsheet editor. That is the same idea here. So there is one thing here that is cool. Imagine that you are at your work or at school or in a library, so you cannot install anything locally. So it's very nice because there is an option that we can use an IDE in the browser. So I like this CoderPad IO. There is a lot of big companies that use this tool for code interview. So when you are in a code interview in a call, you're gonna use something similar to this, so they can see what you are typing there, like everything, and they can have some collaboration. The good thing about this tool is that you don't need to install anything locally. You'll be running on the server. If you want more resource, you have to pay, do a login, but this sandbox is nice because if you want to do some quick training, or let's see if this is gonna work, you can just come here and type your code. So in this case, the language that is here is Java. So we can go there and change it to whatever language we need, sweet language. The one that we'll be learning this training is called C#. So let's select C#. And a lot of things is going to appear here. So don't worry about this right now, is what you'll be learning. But if we just run it, we'll see some results. And this, you don't need to have anything locally. Any computer will be able, as long as you can browse, you can do some coding. So this one, if you want to see, we'll use a loop command. For 5 times, we're gonna print hello world. This is what this program is doing. If I change this to 50, let's see what is gonna change it. Instead of 5, we'll see 50 hello world. Cool? Okay. It's just to let you know that there is always an option for anyone to learn how to code. If you don't have access to a computer that you can install, you can go to a library, you can go to your mate house, girlfriend, boyfriend, and then get your grandma computer. And as long as you have access to the browser, you can still play and learn how to do coding. Cool? Is that why I like to show this here? Because there is always an option. Oh, and like I said, there is there is Visual Studio. This Visual Studio is different than Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio is for Microsoft as well, Visual Studio Code as well, but this one is more like when you are sure that you're going to be working Windows environment. This is a full IDE out of the box already. The Visual Studio Code, Microsoft tried to create something that could be used by any other company, any other tech stack, so you can program C, C++, Java, Python. I remember when I joined Microsoft, I was surprised how open-minded they are. Internally, there is nothing to say, oh, you have to use Windows, you have to use this, they say, use what is the best for your needs. And I heard that back in the days, if you mention like Linux or something different, you could even be fired or be in trouble. But in my experience there, they just said, oh, do you know, we have to embrace open source. The world is using it, so let's go that way. Visual Studio is still the old school tool when you know that you're going to be working with Microsoft product, Windows, SQL Server, the web server for Microsoft, like IIS. So my company uses Visual Studio, but most of the time I'm using Visual Studio Code because I like it more. Because we work with a product called Dynamic CRM that is from Microsoft, and this guy has a way better integration. So I just use when I need that integration, and all the other time I use just Visual Studio Code. So if you go to Microsoft Visual Studio, there is a few options. The community is the free one, so anyone can use it, and it's good enough for most of the case. And then if you have a company, you can buy the professional, the enterprise. For our case, in our training, we don't need those. If you want, you can use the community one, but Visual Studio Code is good enough for everything that we're going to be learning here. Remember, this is more when you work in a company that is a Microsoft shop, and then there is a lot of integration with Microsoft products. So let's close those guys. And this is the guy that you're going to be using a lot, Visual Studio Code. So this is the code editor. It's free as well. You can download it for Linux. You can download it for Windows, for Mac. if you go here, see, there is multiple options, how to install. I'm not going to show how to install in your environment, but it's self-explanatory. So this is part of, you can get some tutorial. If you have any trouble, you can maybe post a comment in the Discord channel. I may try to help, but you should be able to fairly install Visual Studio Code in your environment. Oh, and by the way, I forgot. There is even Visual Studio Code on the browser as well. So it's kind of a similar experience, but in the browser, just in case if you are in a hurry in an airport and then you get someone else computer to help something, to do something, you can use it on the browser. And this is the IntelliJ. IntelliJ is the bigger competitor for Visual Studio. I remember even Microsoft, as I was working with big data, I was not using Visual Studio. I was using IntelliJ because we use like Scala and Spark, and this guy has better integration. So that's why even in Microsoft, we use some different tools because they have that mindset. Use whatever is better for your job, what you need to do. In my previous company, we use like a language called Kotlin. And the Kotlin language is from the same company that make this IntelliJ. So there is a better integration as well. So in my previous company, we use IntelliJ. I like them all. The one that I like the most is Visual Studio Code, but it's kind of compare a Ferrari with a Lamborghini, with a Porsche, like they are all good. How to set up Visual Studio Code. So as we're going to be using Visual Studio Code, there is some setup. So when I install Visual Studio Code, let me open it here. Let me close. Let me show as if nothing is in here. Close full. So you have Visual Studio like this. Let me move it to the left. This icon here, extension, is where we can put extension to this code editor to make it an IDE. So if you go here, I put in the instruction the ones that you need to get. So it's the C# dev kit. So you go there and you search for C# dev kit. So as you can see, it's published by Microsoft. In this case, I already installed, but you can just say install it. I don't recommend to use the pre-release version. There is some bugs, so it's just use the less stable version. So as you can see, it's very mature. There is a lot of download. It shows the information somewhere here. So we can see, oh, here, see, install count, 14 million. So a star is not that good, but it's okay. And for now is what we need, because what this extension is going to do is we'll make this Visual Studio Code ready for C# code. If you are working with Python, you do something similar with Python. If you are working with C or Go, whatever language you'll be using, you use the extension for it. Okay. Go back here. What else I showed? Oh, of course, you have to install the .NET SDK. So .NET SDK is what makes your computer ready to run C# and .NET code. So whoever is going to work with C# has to have this. So if I open this, you can see how to download as well. We will be learning this one. The version 10 is the latest one. And you can download for any environment that you are work as well. In my case, it's Linux, but you can download for Mac, for Windows, of course. It's Microsoft, no? And so now let's understand one thing here. I will close Visual Studio, and then I put some instruction here. How can we create? Imagine that you are not open my repository that already has a C# project. You wonder, okay, how can I just create something new? Just to give you an idea. So when you're gonna create any one of your project, you should follow something like step like this. So the first one is we run this command .NET new. Here is the type of program. So we're gonna create a console application. You remember that there is type of application, could be like web, Windows, or desktop. APIs, in our case, a console, and we'll give two names. For now, just understand this is the solution and this is the project. A solution is just organization where you can have multiple projects. But let's copy this. No, let's copy now. Let's do this. I will keep it there and I will come here. Let's go back to home, CD downloads. Let me make this a little bit bigger so it'll be easier for you to read. CD download, what is in here? Let's make a D. First demo, and then CD first demo. So what should we type? Is just to take a peek here. The good thing I like today with AI is that we don't need to remember all those things. I always forget, and you do this once in a while. For example, in my company, the last time we created a project was like months ago. We are working on those projects for a long time ago. Someone asked me, oh, do you remember how to create a Visual Studio.NET project? I said, no, but I know how to find it. So we use the command .NET new console -n. The name of the project, I can just call demo. Let me put this, demo solution, and then -o. No, let's see, demo project -o demo project, and let's see what happens. See, this is exactly a console application. If I do a ls, I see that there is a new folder. Let's go to that folder and let's list it. Let's do this now. I am in this folder and I'll do a code dot. I will open Visual Studio Code in this folder. I could simply come here and do the similar thing. They both do the same. As I'm in the folder, I'm gonna open this and I can see my project. Do you see that Visual Studio Code is asking, oh, do you trust the author of those files? Because there is a risk that you are download code and if you run, something very bad can happen in your computer. So like I said, be aware that you have to make sure that the code you are running is safe. I will say yes, trust the author. And then now we have Visual Studio showing our project. Or what you can do is you can open Visual Studio, go to files, open folder, where is it? Open folder, navigate to your folder, where is it gonna be? Home, download, first demo, demo project, and I open it. In Visual Studio Code comes already with the Copilot. There is a free version that you can use a little bit, but you need to pay, I guess it's $15 per month, and then you can use AI. We'll be using it during the training, but for today's class, we don't need. What you need to understand, as we are not just building, creating a Word document, we are creating an application. There is some extra files that we need here. There is some extra metadata. So there are two folders being an object. Those two folders are used for when we build our code. Do you remember that I told you that there is some abstraction happening? So if we go up here for the preview class, I told you, we have the source code that is similar to something like this. Then we build, and then some intermediary code is generated, and then later on, we have the binary code, the one that is going to be running. So this is what those folders are about. So those two folders you can delete all the time, anytime, because they will be generated. Every time you do a build, it's going to be generated. So let me increase the size a little bit here so it'll be easier for you all to read. And And let me go back here to access our content. I guess there is some stuff I want to show here as well. So once you have your Visual Studio project folder, we can do two things. .NET build, way more, but the most basic thing is .NET build, that is going to do the build or similar to compiling, is going to compile our code, and then .NET run. I'm in the same folder. Let me do this. I'm in the same folder of my project, see, demo project. If I do a .NET build, I'm creating .NET build. There is a lot of tools that is being executed in the back end. So what happened is, let me open this way to show. Actually I can show from here. If we navigate to those, do you see that those object, there is a lot of files there. So those files were generated files that is being used to build our final code. Do you see? So most of the time, almost all the time, we don't need to deal with this. You just need to understand that the code that is being running is from this bin folder. Let me just show you that there is, like, if we go to download, first demo project, bin, debug, the version 10, because we could have multiple versions. So this is .NET 10. And look, there are those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 files. What are those files? If we go here and let's navigate to that folder. So it is, let me do bin, come on, bin, cd bin, debug, net 10, and look, all those files. This file is the program itself. All these other ones are like metadata. So if I try to open those files, look what is going to happen. I try to open this one first. It's going to say, do you remember when I told you that every file, every content, we need to tell to the computer what type of information is in there? So in this case, the editor say, I am ready to open text file. But this is not a text file. This is a executable file. It's a program. And we have the option to open anyway. So if you open, I can say, okay, text editor. We can see that there is some text inside, but there is way more stuff, characters that cannot be recognizable. And then we just see those great things. There are some tools that allow us to inspect and see the real content of the file. And you can see like something similar to those programs that I showed initially, like the executable, like what is going to be executed. You see, this is not for us to read. This is what the computer is going to execute. If I am in that folder and I run it, so demo project, in Linux, we have to do this. We run the program and we see this hello world. Why do we see hello world? Because in our IDE, this you need to know, in their version and the type of the project that we create, this program.cs is the entry point. When we run this project, this file is the one that is being executed. Look that there is some options here that we can go to this browser and see what type of information is there, like how to generate the thing. There is different templates. For now, we can just delete this. And this is what our program is doing. If I copy this twice, I save, look what is going to happen. This is why it's important for us to understand the idea of source code and executable. I change my source code, I'm going to this, and I run it. And you say, And I already saw that happen before. Someone that didn't know about this, oh, something is wrong. What happened here? We changed the source code, but we didn't build again. So the binary files are still based on the previous source code. What we need to do, let's go back to the, I keep this window here, I open new window. Open, oh, I can do this here, split window. New tab, the same folder, but this one here, I will go up, up a little bit more until I'm in this folder. And here I will do a .NET build. Now I'm using tools to say, oh, get the source code, build it to generate a new executable. Let's see if I did, yes. Do you see here, this file was generating 2153. Now it's 21,959 or 58. So if I do another, this, see, was updated. So if I run this guy, if I go here and I run it, I see hello world. If I don't want to go all the way to this folder to run the file directly, we can come here and just say .NET run, will be the same. It does a build and then run. Okay, if we go here now and you change, welcome to the software engineer training. I'll save, I'll come here, and then I'll do a .NET run. Pay attention that the .NET run always do a rebuild, so that's why it's better to use this guy. So if you don't know this basic concept that what we edit, what we do our work on is just the source code, is not the one that is going to be executed, you may be lost. However, there are some languages like Python that they are interpreted. So this file, the source code, is the one that is fed directly to the environment to run it. So there is no compilation. We are using C#, like Java, like C, C++, that we need to do initial compilation to prepare our code to run. So it's very important for the whatever language you are using, you must know is compiled or is interpreted. Most of the good languages are compiled. So in .NET, in Java, there is a intermediate compilation, but this is behind the scene. We may talk about this later on. But it's very important for you to understand now, because I already saw people doing this mistake, was changing the code, copying those files, send to someone, or running those files, expecting the change to be there already. Okay? And remember, it's always an abstraction. What we are writing here is a program in a high-level program language that a computer cannot execute at all, has to be built, and then execute. Okay? So this is the, something else I'd like to show. Why IDE is very cool, because we don't need to be running this command all the time. We can just close this. Eventually we may go there, but we have buttons to do those things. For example, Ctrl F5 is going to run without debugging, and F5 is going to debug. Let's see what debug is. It's an amazing tool that is one of the biggest benefits that IDE brings to us. So if I just press F5, or if I go here and do a run, start debug, I'm going to choose C#. There is some step that you need to do before you do this. So let me just follow here. And now I can see here, welcome to the software engineer course, hello world. So the IDE is doing the compilation execution for us. We may need to put a breakpoint. Do you see in this column here, when I put my mouse there, I put a breakpoint. I can put as many breakpoint I want. And now if I go to run and start debugging, this is amazing because we can see our program be executed line by line. It's the best tool to learn, to find bugs, and to make sure that the program is correct, to review a program. So when I do this now, look what's gonna happen. Do you see this yellow arrow here? It's telling, oh, now we are running this line. We don't see any message here. And then we have those buttons. This button means, okay, run the code until the next breakpoint or the program is over. This one say, oh, step over this line, go to the next line. If I do this, now I can see this message, welcome to software engineer course. This yellow line tells us, oh, now we are about to run this line. We didn't run yet. If I go that step over again, we can see the next line and the program is over and we see this message, the program is complete. Those other buttons, we'll learn about them later on. We can just stop it, or we can go into, if we are using a function, we're gonna learn this later on. So for now, we can ignore those other buttons, or we can just stop it. And you can restart. But if you stop it, you say, okay, I don't want to run my program or debug anymore, just stop it. Okay? This was what okay, now let's close this guy. Let's open Visual Studio Code. And I open now the folder for, oh, not this folder. I want to close this folder and I want to open a different one. Open folder. That will be the folder for our training. So it will be the home, document, source, code learn. This is the repository that I'm working on. Do you remember we did a clone here before? But the one that I used is this one. So this is just like an open screen just to show you something. I'm gonna close this. And this is our training content so far. What we do have, that README file is the file that we see when you open. And this file is interesting. This file is use a markdown. Markdown is something that we can use those symbols, alignment, and then there is a visual representation. So we see the file like this. So let me put like this. So then you just understand. Will be something like this is the code, the source code, and this is the binary, what the user will see. Do you see? I type this, and then this is what we see. This is the content. This is the visual of that content. So this is the file that we're going to be updated with the class that we do have. The initial project, the 01 intro, we use this project for several next class where we're going to be learning the basic of coding. So I'll be showing this a lot. Here we have a hello world as well. And if we run this project, we will see that hello world here as well. Oops, should be here, hello world. Okay, so I hope you didn't get confused with all those tools, but the one that we'll be using is this Visual Studio Code. This is our project. You will get used with those content. We do have a console application that we use for most of the basic learning. There's several next class, probably the next 20, 30 class will be using this project. Later on, we're gonna create a web, an API. So we have more projects coming on later on, Angular or React. We have a folder with all the image that I'm using as well. Just to be organized, I don't want to put everything in one folder. That is it. And then there is what I create in Scalibur as well. So if you go here, that image that I use in the first, I guess the second or first class. So that's it. If you get confused, calm down. we're gonna have a lot of opportunity to clarify the thing. My advice is, before the next class, make sure that you have our repository cloned, and you can come here and run in debug, and you can see hello world. Because then you'll be ready to do the exercise, do the homework, and then follow what I'm doing in the class. Cool? Okay, so yeah, it's a Friday night, 10 p.m., so I not expect anyone to be live watching it, but I hope tomorrow, Sunday morning, or Monday before the next class, you can get this content. So thank you for watching. God bless you. See you next class. You can get this content. So you can get this content.